She messed up.
I knew she was going to me too. Oh, she got so pretty. I know she got 5,000. Wait, 5,000,000.
Definitely not gonna stop you. Of course. Oh yeah, that's happening. That's happening.
I ate something like you said. I ate something like you said.
Good.
I feel better.
Good. So yeah,
Oh, I didn't say it out.
you don't know that.
You good?
My candy is ready.
Really thirsty. I mean, that skills.
I thought about bringing my thing in here, but I decided against it at the last minute. Save it for later tonight.
You miss that over. I'm good.
What's up, you?
Delicious.
Do I? No,
You didn't have that on your side.
I don't know. All right, what's up, Puzzle Nation? This is the Mad Hatter sitting next to Red Owl, and you're watching another live edition of Puzzle with the two of us. We are gonna go through some stories that we've accumulated over the past couple of weeks, and just kind of give you some insight perspective on the things that we've been thinking about. If you have any comments, feel free to fill out that comment box that's sitting right there. We are also simulcast on Facebook and on YouTube, so feel free, if your Instagram isn't working or if you prefer a different platform, go to those and subscribe to both the Mad Hatter puzzle page on Facebook and the Mad Hatter puzzle page on YouTube to get all the content that comes from me. Good. All right. Again, we got some stories we want to talk about today. So yeah, do it if you want to. Do it if you want to. You ain't sleep. So we got a few stories we want to talk to y'all about today, and hopefully we'll be able to get through them all. So again, we're just gonna jump right in. Is there anyone you want to go first?
Where were you gonna start? Where were you?
I did not have a preference today.
The two stories that kind of go together.
You two to go together?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They kind of go together. I thought they were together. Do they go
They do
together?
go together. So we're going to start off talking about acting. It was a topic that I had brought up a few months ago, and it's come back up again. And so I just wanted to kind of rehash it now that I have someone to kind of hash it out with and see how she thinks about this topic. This one is coming from CNN, and it says, colorblind casting still doesn't get a pass. In this most recent iteration of surrounding white actors portraying characters of color, Israeli-born actress Gal Gadot has been cast to play Cleopatra, ancient queen of Egypt, in an upcoming film that will reunite her with Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins. This is not a new story, but it is a complicated one, because while Cleopatra ruled over Egypt, there's been long debate over whether she had African ancestry, given that she hailed from a long line of Macedonian Greeks. As a geography reminder, Egypt is located on the continent of Africa. The belief that Cleopatra was a woman of color also caused consternation in 2010 when Stacy Schiff, the author of a biography, Cleopatra: A Life, suggested Angelina Jolie would be the perfect choice to play the queen in a film adaptation of her book. The issue is bigger than just one role. Colorblind casting, as it has come to be known, has both its critics and its supporters for myriad fair and important reasons. Blackface, the offensive portrayals of Asians and Latinos by white actors, and underrepresentation of people of color behind the scenes all point to the fact that the entertainment industry has long had a race problem. So it rankles when people believe a character to be whitewashed. There was another story that came out in 2016 about the Broadway musical Hamilton. They had written in 2016 on CNN, the Broadway blockbuster Hamilton had been praised for casting mostly Black and Latino performers in place of America's founding fathers. But the Great White Way's newest hit musical has come under fire for a casting call that sought non-white performers. The controversial notice was posted this week on Hamilton's website and on the trade site Backstage.com. It soon circulated all over social media with tweets, retweets, and Facebook posts that elicited mixed reactions. The show's producers said they regretted the confusion the notice may have caused. It is essential to the storytelling of Hamilton that the principal roles, which were written for non-white characters except King George, be performed by non-white actors, the producer said in a statement. This adheres to the accepted practice that certain characteristics and certain roles constitute a bona fide occupational qualification that is legal. I wanted to say what where is it? In an October interview with CNN, show creator Miranda said the casting of Blacks and Latinos as the founding fathers is meant to eliminate any distance between the contemporary audience and the story. Miranda said the point is the cast is supposed to resemble America now. It looks like what you see when you get on the A train to go to work. We are trying to make the struggles of the people on that stage identifiable to our audience, and the fact that our cast looks like our country helps with that. I had brought this up a few months ago on an earlier podcast in relation to white actors and actresses being cast in roles that were non-white. That we saw in light of all of the Black Lives Matter and social justice movements that were happening over the summer, that you had some people who were feeling as though they had overstepped their boundaries as white actors and actresses, and thus gave up their roles so that those people of color could play the roles of people of color. And I brought up the question, at what point is the line drawn between casting people who actually are worthy of the role and casting people just because of popularity of a particular actor, actress, or certain biases toward, people of color. And so before I go down that rabbit hole, I want to get your thoughts on that.
Okay, so
Okay.
So you're, and I agree. Well, I think you were saying, both of us were saying that, give it to the person who can do it the best.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I think maybe there can be a line drawn when it comes to historical storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Only because people like me, and I've even talked to you about this today. What was their race? Not that it matters, but it's just something that's interesting to know because of their character and how they were portrayed. Like, it's kind of, I want to know, were they black, were they white, were they Latina, were they, you know what I'm saying? And I did find out, that Hercules Mulligan, he was Irish, and he actually had a black slave who, he was close with, and, the slave was actually the one to help him smuggle the information, and he saved George Washington twice, and that's how it, but so, okay. But I think that, not really, but I think that when it comes to telling the historical part of you, I think that finding someone who fits that part in all ways is kind of important. Only because when kids are looking at it, I think, so when you watch Hamilton, do you think Hercules Mulligan is white or black? She thinks he's black. She just said it. Black. But he wasn't. And like I said, not that it matters, but it's just kind of good to know. Because again, and I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers, but when talking about this, it wasn't just black people trying to save and help black people back then. It was white people trying to do it too.
Mm-hmm.
And they were some of them. Even Hamilton's wife is one who, helped trying to end slavery. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that it's important when it comes to that, but the play was awesome. But look at, if you want to find somebody with Hercules, I'm just using him as an example because he was the one who was the rough one, the one who was the, who they made it seem like he was the hardcore one. I'm sure there are plenty of, people out there who they could have found to do that part. When I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about Channing Tatum. He looks, built or whatever. Do it. Can you do it? Okay. If you can't, let me know. But I don't know. That's still like a hard thing to say whether, get the best person who fits the role or find the person who fits it physically. Why can't it be both?
Yeah, I think that it's a line. It's a fine line that has to be drawn, and I think the problem becomes when it becomes this universal idea that every role on the planet has to be played by the exact person who fits that role. Now, I will say that you do have certain people, and I've seen this talked about in numerous occasions, where they already have the actor or the actress in mind that they want to play the role before they even, start filming or casting. And so they don't even give other people a chance. And so if that's happening, that's one thing. And that's something that I think does need to stop. I think that, that is something that needs to be looked at. But at the same time, though, it's based upon who can play that role and who has the capacity to be able to portray what the directors and what the producers are looking for in the film. Because another person was saying that they base a lot of their decisions on money. And they know that if they put a big time name person in this role, that it's going to draw people to the subject matter. Because if you're doing like a historical piece, for instance, a lot of people don't really care about history stories. But if you put a big time name in the movie, then chances are you'll draw more people into the film. Again, it doesn't negate the fact that maybe you should try to put somebody in who actually fits that particular race or that particular culture or whatever. But a lot of times the decisions that are made are not based on trying to be historically accurate. They're based on trying to draw people to the theaters so they can make money off of the movies, so they can then go ahead and produce other movies too. And it's not the best practice in the world, and I'm certainly not advocating that in every instance, that instead of trying to find somebody who's actually culturally, relevant to the actual characters being portrayed, that you just completely disregard that and just do what you got to do to go make some money every single time. But I think we have to take a strong look at whether or not people are getting these roles, especially like I say in today's society. Again, it's not negating a lot of the blackballing that's been happening because of this, that, and third. But are the characters that are being, or are the actors or the actresses that are being asked to play these roles the best people to play these roles? And if they are, can we stop for a moment criticizing directors and actors and actresses for making these decisions and appreciate the art? Because even though in Hamilton, for instance, there's only like one white actor or actress that we know that's in that we knowingly know is in that play, compared to all the other cultures that are representing the white cultures in that play, Hamilton still has been one of the, if not the best plays to come out of Broadway, and has received high praise, high acclaim, has been out for 5 years, and still is culturally relevant even today, still going to make money. When they open back up Broadway, they're going to be one of the first plays to open back up. And so, can we, for a moment, stop being frustrated over the fact that, they didn't cast a Chinese person to play the Chinese role, or they didn't cast a Latina person to play a Latina role, or they didn't cast whatever culture, they cast another culture to play this culture. Can we stop being angry every single time and give that person a chance to actually portray the art that the director or the directors are trying to put out there? Again, it doesn't necessarily mean that a Chinese person can't play the Chinese role and do the same job and receive high praise and high accolades and get that opportunity, that say a white person can. But at the same time, it's a matter of, the intent of the producers and everyone who's making these big time decisions when it comes to making money. Because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, at least for me. Is it about making money, or is it about making a historically accurate, culturally accurate piece of work, forsaking the dollars? And if the intent behind a lot of these blockbuster movies is, I just want to make as much money as I can, then I, for one, can't fault them for making some of the decisions that they make. I'm not saying all of them are good, and I'm not saying that all of them are things that we need to accept. But I think we get so wrapped up in arms because you're a black person, you're playing a white role, or you're a white person, you're playing a black role. Like, at some point, we have to take that step back, and can we give people a chance to do the part or do the role justice, and then judge it based on the job they did, rather than off the cuff just saying they're not going to be able to do it right. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to fill out that comment box below right there. We'll try to get to them as fast as we can. You're watching Puzzled with the Mad Hatter and Red Owl, and I just messed up a little bit of this puzzle that I'm working on. For those who are paying attention to me on on Instagram rather. I'm working on the Joe Wall puzzle Spirit of the Elements. That's currently on my table. And so I'm having a lot of fun with that, and probably gonna break it up like a couple more times before we leave from here today. This next story is coming from CBS News. It says an ex-Facebook executive says the company made its product as addictive as cigarettes. Tech companies are coming under increasing pressure to address digital addiction. During a recent House committee hearing on the dangers of social media, former Facebook executive Tim Kendall told Congress that the company intentionally made its product as addictive as cigarettes. Kendall, CEO of time management at Moment and former director of monetization for Facebook, told the hearing held by the House Committee on Energy and Commerce, quote, tobacco companies initially just sought to make nicotine more potent, but eventually that wasn't enough to grow the business as fast as they wanted. And so they added sugar and menthol to cigarettes so you could hold the smoke in your lungs for longer periods. At Facebook, we added status updates, photo tagging, and likes. During an interview on CBSN, Kendall told CBS News' Lana Zak that it all boils down to the social media giant's advertising-based business model in which the objective is to get more people to pay attention to your product and to pay attention longer each and every day. So what's happened is you basically have an advertising business model that's combined with just ever-growing, ever more intelligent technology, and that combination is really potent, said Kendall. What it's leading to is a product that is just fundamentally addictive for people, and it's causing all kinds of mental health issues, and I think it's eroding aspects of society. While users attacking one another on social media is nothing new, Kendall believes social media sites are tearing people apart very quickly. Quote, at the very least, we have eroded our collective understanding. At worst, I fear we are pushing ourselves to the brink of a civil war. With just a little over a month until Election Day, there have been serious concerns raised over Facebook's role in spreading political misinformation. Kendall believes social media algorithms are reinforcing users' own worldviews and pulling people apart. His last quote, I just don't trust the algorithm. I don't think the algorithm is working in our best interest as an individual or society, because the algorithm wants us to be fractured. It wants us to be polarized, not because it has a personality or an opinion, but it is designed to get me to spend more time each and every day. So,
What?
thoughts? I'm going to let you go first.
Why? You got a lot to say?
I might.
This is nothing new. Facebook is not the first addictive social media platform that's been used. Before Facebook, MySpace, yeah. MySpace was it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my
So
God, right now, top 5
It's like,
songs.
I feel like, you're blaming social media for the mental whatever you're going through, or the depression you're going through. But just like that expression, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Like social media is not the blame, in my opinion, for what you're going through. It's how you use it. Like, and it's what you allow. It's what you allow to be on your social media. Like on my Facebook, I never really see anything bad. Like I used to, because of like who I was friends with, or videos that will pop up from other people who I was friends with. And so I had to like really go through my Facebook, because I wasn't liking what I was seeing, and it makes you depressed. Like it makes you sad, and it makes you angry. And so it's what you allow yourself to be exposed to. I mean, I'm not saying that, just knock out everything bad that's going on in the world, But I mean, with everything bad that's going on in the world, you have to limit that daily, and you have to find more good or more funny. You can ask Eddie just about every night before I'm going to bed. What am I watching on Facebook? I'm watching funny videos, dumb videos, because I don't want to go to bed with the problems of this world on my mind, because I already know that I'm going to have to hear it the next day anyway. So, but it is true. It's addictive, and people who don't know how to what's the word I'm looking for? Control, to have the time for it, the space for it, and to prioritize. People don't know how to prioritize, the social media in your life. Yeah, you're gonna have a problem with it if you're looking at every single little thing, good and bad. So I mean, it's us.
Yeah.
It's us.
I mean, and so two things I got out of it. One is just like you said, if you don't know how to limit your use of social media or utilize it in a way that is more constructive than destructive, that's on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's on you. It's not the program. I mean, now mind you, what I believe Facebook did is they took advantage of what they saw happening. Like with any business. Like I can use me as an example. The more I notice the trends of the puzzle community and the things that y'all like and the things that y'all don't like, the things you want to be involved in, the things you don't want to be involved in, I then adapt to the puzzle community because of what they want at that time. It makes no sense to keep doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results if things have changed and shifted. In the same way, Facebook, Instagram, the whole 9 yards, they shifted to meet the needs of their population. And so they, in order to make money, in order to generate revenue, in order to appease their stockholders, the whole 9 yards, they made the necessary adjustments to do what they needed to do. Now it's on us how we utilize what they give us. I hate it when they changed a lot of stuff with Facebook this past go round and moved stuff around and shifted, things because I was used to using it a certain way. But what did I do? I shifted too because I still wanted to use the program. And so if you're going to use the program, you're going to use the program. So how you prioritize the use of it, that's on you. I know at one point I was on Instagram and I was on Facebook way too much. And so in order for me to shift, me, in order to make more time for the things that I actually cared about, I had to limit what I was using it for and what I was on it for. And in doing so, able to carve out the time I needed to take care of my priorities while still being on social media. In that same vein, what the one of the things he said, tobacco companies initially just sought to make nicotine more potent. It wasn't enough to grow the business as fast as they wanted. And so, yes, it is true that, social media can be addictive. Yes, it is true that just like with anything else, it can become a problem for you. And so if you find yourself a person who is on it too much and it's causing problems, you need to, again, look at yourself. Analyze yourself. Figure out what's going on with you. A different path is what I was thinking about the story for. Is that I've said for a long time that social media only exacerbated or made bigger the camps of division between people groups. Where now, instead of me feeling like I'm alone in what I think, I can find a group or a clique or a club or an organization who thinks just like I think. Now again, I don't think Facebook had anything to do with that in terms of them trying to perpetrate bad groups. But because they allow groups to be available, there are good groups and there are bad groups. As a result, you have the divides that are taking place where it's almost impossible to have a civil conversation with somebody somebody over social media without it turning ghastly, without it turning into this big free-for-all, and it's got people locked in their minds. They don't want to have conversations anymore. They just want to be bullies in a pulpit and say what they want to say, how they want to say it, when they want to say it, however they want to say it. And he's right. It has caused further divides. I don't think that was Facebook's intention, though. I think Facebook's intention was to build a platform for people to come together.
It's never a business. Well, some business. I don't think it's ever really a business's intention to make something bad out of what they're doing. Like before, it's us.
It's us.
It's people. And the thing is, we can't change people.
Nope.
It's you. That's why you have to look at yourself
Mm-hmm.
and limit yourself on what you do and who you're around and who you allow to enter into your space.
Amen.
Like, because I mean, I like some of the groups. Like I have a cricket group. You know what I'm saying? Some, like you said, some of the groups are good, some are bad.
And they're fantastic. Mm-hmm.
It's up to you to decide what is best. You know what I'm saying?
But you're not going to be able to do it for everybody.
No.
And that's the thing that I think that he missed in terms of his idea of Facebook perpetrating this. No, Facebook didn't perpetrate anything. Facebook just made a vehicle available.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a vehicle, just like MySpace, just like Yahoo Groups, just like any other platform that was available prior to Facebook doing what they did. They just said, here is a vehicle. Do with it what you will. And some people, like we said, are doing it for good. They, have great things going on in these groups, but you have some groups that are out there to perpetrate all sorts of evil, meanness. And I mean, we've seen even in the news where you had the person, the group that was wanting to plot against the governors. Like, they may have started on Facebook for all we know. And so again, we have to be careful, how we use social media. What are we using it for? Our intentions. But keep in mind that even with the best of intentions, Facebook, you still don't have people that are using it for the wrong reasons. And all we can do is hope that Facebook limits the amount of bad stuff that happens on Facebook. Because if they're going to limit me from playing nice songs, the least you can do is limit bad groups too. But, that's another whole can of worms in terms of free speech and all that bull crap. But again, but Facebook does bear some responsibility, but at the end of the day, it's us. What are we doing? Are we on Facebook to, just go ham on everything that we see and say, or are we on Facebook to do something constructive? We have to be the judges of that. We have to decide what we're going to do while we're on it. And we got to hope and pray that other people will fall in line at some point. But keep in mind that this is a broken world where broken people do broken things. And so they're going to use whatever platform they need to do their broken stuff. If you have any comments, feel free to fill out that comment box below right there. And we'll try to get to them as fast as we can. You're watching Puzzled with the Mad Hatter and the Red Owl. All right, which one next? I ain't got nothing funny this week. I tried. We went 2 weeks.
I don't want to talk about it. You can put them two together, I guess.
These
Check
two?
them out.
Okay.
Going back to back.
Okay.
I really don't want to talk about them too.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about this one, and then you can piggyback off of what I'm going to say about it. Well, I'm gonna talk about this one. Yeah. So, St. Louis husband and wife who pointed guns at protesters indicted on firearms charges. St. Louis husband and wife who were captured on video brandishing guns at protesters over the summer were indicted Tuesday on firearm and evidence tampering charges, their lawyer said. The indictment comes nearly 4 months after Mark and Patricia McCloskey, who have been embraced by conservatives and appeared at the RNC, were filmed and photographed outside their affluent West Central End home, pointing a semi-automatic rifle and a handgun at the demonstrators. I'm going to skip to the end because the end is what I want to talk about.
They were at their home.
They were at their home. Mhm.
Protesters were at their home.
Protesters were marching near their home, not at their home. They were going to the governor's home, or the mayor's home. The mayor's home that day. Okay. At the end of it says, a representative for the McCloskeys had previously insisted the couple is not opposed to protests for racial equality and were only fearful of a few white protesters in the crowd. The Black Lives Matter movement is here to stay. It is the right message, and it is about time, said Albert Watkins, a lawyer for the McCloskeys in June. The McCloskeys want to make sure no one thinks less of BLM, its message, and the means it is employing to get its message out because of the actions of a few white individuals who tarnished the peaceful protest. So over the course of the summer, there had been several reports that there were white people who were disguising themselves as a part of Black Lives Matter movements in protests. And in doing so were the actual people who were doing the rioting, the looting, burning down businesses, the whole 9 yards. And some people believe, and like I said, I don't know one way or another, but that they were doing it in an attempt to undermine the Black Lives Matter movement. And so when they said that at the end of their story, it resonated with me because I don't know who they were yelling at by the time they got their guns out and were like, y'all need to back up. There's a video of it. I did. And I don't know, because again, it was a whole bunch of people there. Black, white, purple, pink. So it's not like it was like a few people that showed up in the neighborhood and you could point out, it was this person, it was that person, it was this person who was coming near my house. But again, for them to say that, I take it with a grain of salt because of the fact that I know that there have been other videos of other protests that have happened over the course of the summer where they did have people, who were rioting, looting, and things like that, but they were white. And they were claiming they were doing it in the name of Black Lives Matter, but then you would have people from the Black Lives Matter movement and just black folks in general who would tell them, no, this is not what we want. We don't want you to do this. Please stop. It's undermining the message. This isn't us. Don't blame this on us. This isn't black folk. We're not doing this. And so for them to have said that, as much as it still pains me that they felt the need to pull out guns on people and say, y'all ain't gonna mess with my house and things like that, at the same time, I wonder, and again, I'm not condoning what they did in any way, shape, or form, but I wonder what those protesters did to incite them and make them feel the need to pull their guns out.
And I wonder what other people around them who may have wanted to do the right thing, what did they do? To me, it's like you can't win. You can't win. When you try to do something good or right, like it's always gonna be those few people to, mess it up. And, sometimes it's not sometimes it is others who are trying to
undermine,
to come in and do that. That's why when you have stuff like that, all the protests and stuff like it, and you hear stories, like you just wonder, like, for what?
I, for one, have been on the side of, we need everyone to do their part, to play their role. I because of my job and because of who I represent, I can't put myself in a position that's going to jeopardize my job. And so that's why even when I'm doing podcasts like this one, I can, but I choose not to. And I choose.
What are your priorities?
One, what are my priorities? Two, how else can I fight?
Exactly.
How else can I fight? And that's the stance that I take. I do protests. I don't do marches. I don't do anything like that. But I do use my platform, the platforms that I have, to try to advocate for the things that I can. Because I'm a pastor, I can't tell people who to vote for. But, you know, what do I do? You know, I had on my table a while ago, vote, you know, on there. On my pages, you see that I have on there, you know, hey, go vote. I don't care who you vote for, but go vote. You know, when the protests started happening after George Floyd was killed, and you know, things like that. Like, I shared my story of you know, racial, you know, injustices and things of that nature, and how it affects me personally. You know, those are the ways that I've chosen to take up the mantle and fight. But everybody can't, and everybody shouldn't fight the same way. We all have different things that we can do to continue to push for change and push for the equity. I love how LeBron James has used his platform. The NBA has used their platform religiously over the past 6 months to push for social change and to push for social justice in a way that only the WNBA has matched every other sports arena, you know, has done something, but they didn't do anything to the level that the NBA did. The NBA went out of their way to even say, we ain't gonna play playoff games the way that y'all act, the way that everything's going on in this society, because enough is enough. Like, you're not gonna hear people giving up whole checks for social justice. And so everybody has a way to fight, and we have to pick and choose the battles that we're going to fight and how we're going to go about doing it. And so I'm not telling anybody not to protest. Do what you got to do. But at the same time, what I am saying is that you make sure that your message is being heard and that you are doing what you can to maintain the integrity of your message. So for the ones who are then going in and trying to infiltrate, shame on them. But what do you expect? Like, it's like Nicole said, you can't win. Like, there's always gonna be someone or some group or some organization that's gonna come and try to undermine what you're doing because they do not like what you're doing. And so when you find that opposition coming in, it shows that you're on the right path because you have people that are trying to stop it. So just be smart about how you go about doing the things that you're doing so that, you know, you can continue to make the main message be the message. A lot of times they do those things because they want people to get off message, get off track. They don't want people to hear the true message and the true intent. They just want the sensationalism and the flash that comes with, you know, let's do something crazy so that people can say, see, that's why Black Lives Matter ain't no good, because look at what they're doing. That's their intent. That's what they wanted. And so we have to continue to push that the real story, the real narrative be told so that, you know, the message can continue to resonate in such a way to where people like these folk who pulled the gun out on the protesters can say, and I pray that they were honest with it, it wasn't Black Lives Matter who did it. It was these few white protesters who thought it was okay to just come in and do what they wanted to do and try to tear our house apart. I don't know. By the time the tape started rolling, woman was out with a gun. Like, so, but then the protester, no, she was in her yard with the gun. So the husband was out in the yard with their guns, and the protest was still going to the house they wanted to go to. And they weren't targeting them. They were going to whose house were they going to? I thought it was in here. Hold on. I thought I had it in here. I thought they had the story in here of whose house they were going to. But again, it was from what I can remember, there was an incident that happened in that city, and the mayor either let the people off or didn't charge or whatever. And so the protesters went to that mayor's house to be like, look, you got to do something. Like, that's what they were there to do. They weren't there to burn their house down or anything. It was there to say, hey, you need to do something. They live in that neighborhood. and they're walking down, they're passing them. Apparently, the few white protesters must have said something or walked in their yard or something that scared them and made them like, y'all ain't gonna miss my house or whatever. Again, it became this big thing. Oh, you're trying to shoot the protesters. You're trying to shoot the Black Lives Matter vote. And so that's when it became what it became. And mind you, they shouldn't have did what they did because now they got the weapon charges and all that kind of stuff. Because of the tape. The tape makes it appear as though they were trying to incite, violence against the protesters. They didn't catch when the protesters went up to their house if that's what they did. The few white protesters that they're referring to, the tape doesn't show that. So we'll never know whether or not that actually happened or whether that's just a story they're going with to try to get off these charges. So, at any rate, you got anything else? Got any questions or comments? Fill out the comment box below. We'll try to get to it as fast as we can. You're watching Puzzled with the Mad Hatter and the Red Owl. I'll bring it on. You ready?
No.
So this story came out on October 12th. Says black man who was led through Galveston, Texas by police officers on horseback is suing the city for $1 million. Black man is suing Galveston, Texas and his police department for more than $1 million after the 2019 incident in which he was handcuffed and tied to officers on horseback as they led him down the street. The man was arrested and charged with criminal trespass near a U.S. post office in August of last year. Court records show the case against him was dismissed. His arrest received national attention after photos showed two mounted officers from the Galveston Police Department leading nearly through the city by what appeared to be a rope. Police said at the time that the officer was holding a line clipped to Neely's handcuffs, not a rope, though it's unclear what the difference is. Critics and advocates said the photos conjured up images of the era of slavery, a point also made in a lawsuit filed by Houston-based attorney Julie Kellerman in Galveston court on Wednesday. That's all I'm going to say about that. Look, thank God for social media, I guess, because it had not been for social media, then this practice will still be happening. No idea why this was an accepted practice in this city. I mean, the only question I have is that how y'all treat everybody? Because if that's how you treat everybody,
That's my first time hearing it.
that's right. Listen, exactly. That's why I'm asking the question. Is that the only time y'all done it? Is that the first time y'all done it?
Why, though?
Yeah, and what for? Because at the end of the day, it makes no sense. Now, mind you, I do understand that they have mounted police. That the police there, they're on horses.
All of them?
Not all of them.
Call for backup.
That's why I'm not advocating that it need to be done. I'm just saying what they're doing. And so, I guess, y'all didn't feel like calling up cars to come and pick the man up. So that way you didn't have to put a rope on him, and, have him, or line, as y'all like to say, and have him walk embarrassingly to 2 miles to the station or whatever. So more power to you, I guess. But the question still remains, why? I would hope that black people are not the only the only people that this happens for. I would assume that it's not. But again, what do I know? They said that they're not going to do it anymore. That practice will be eliminated from police tactics in Galveston, Texas. Thank God for that. Why was it ever there in the first place is beyond me. And I just hope that they choose not to do that anymore. This is why you're seeing so many people rise up more so than ever before, although it's been happening since the dawn of time, that police reform needs to happen. Because of stupid stuff like this that can end up getting people killed. And that's all I got to say about that. So, moving on. Review of Texas Tech softball program uncovers another issue: baptisms. With the resignation of Texas Tech softball coach Adrian Gregory on September 22nd, an internal review of the program was expected to examine allegations of player abuse and racial insensitivity. But another issue was revealed with the review's release on Wednesday: baptisms. The review, initiated by Texas Tech's athletic department, noticed that 3 baptisms took place within team facilities. Let's see. What brought me to Christ, Trinity Edwards said, was this team and Coach G. Edwards said in the video that happened on May 12th, referring to Gregory as she sat in a metal tub full of water during baptism performed by Brandy Cantrell, a Fellowship of Christian Athletes volunteer chaplain. On the same day, Edwards said Texas Tech Associate Head Coach Sam Martyr was baptized at the softball facility. Martyr, who was Jewish, declined comment. Yvonne Whaley, a junior on the Texas Tech team, was also baptized at the facility on a separate occasion, according to 2 people who attended the ceremony and spoke on the condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of the matter. All 3 baptisms took place in the presence of Gregory, who resigned 1 day after the internal review was completed. There were no complaints cited in the review about baptisms or other religious issues, but there were problems elsewhere. Concerning finding from the interviews of current and former student athletes that of those asked whether they would recommend softball program to a family member or a close friend, 7 said they would not. By contrast, no one cares about any of that. In the section of the report entitled Religious Freedom, the review found, although not communicated definitively as being voluntary, most agreed that participation in any faith-based activity was indeed voluntary. The professor there said that baptism had violated the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. He cited 1979 case. No one cares. As the court said, there is nothing unconstitutional about offering an objective course in religion or religious writings. However, when public institutions engage in activities that propagate religion, they have crossed a line. Okay. So, I guess for me, I don't care. I really don't care. And I say that because, like, people are grown, and you can do what you want to do.
No one was forced.
No one was forced to be baptized. You know, they probably had conversations about their faith, and they were like, you know, you want to receive Christ? You're going to receive him now. We can baptize you now. We ain't got to wait till Sunday morning. Let's go ahead and baptize you now. Here we got some water. We got a tub. Let's baptize you. And boom, it was done. Like, we get so caught up and angry over the separation of church and state to where, like, it's like people can't do anything anymore, you know, without somebody wanting to turn it into this big old thing. Now, yeah, sure. We can argue the fact that, you know, if she's a coach, she should know better, blah, blah, blah. But there's one thing I tell you about our faith: all bets are off when it comes to faith. Like, once you cross that boundary, like, it ain't about being coach and a student no more. It's about being brothers and sisters, and that takes on a whole different dynamic that a lot of people just refuse to try to understand when it comes to situations like this. I don't think the coach did anything wrong. I don't think the coach did anything, you know, that's a violation of any code of ethics or any type of morality or anything like that. I think people were trying to find a reason to fire her. They found a reason. They found the clause that they needed in their rule book, and then they just threw it at her. Because I tell you this, if they liked her, they wouldn't have brought it up. If she was doing what they wanted her to do, they never would have brought it up. But because they needed to find something in their internal review, they found what they needed and they used it against her. And that I find offensive.
So then my question is, just like the guy with the tattoos, were there any warnings, you know? Or so okay.
Go ahead.
I guess was it what am I trying to say? Was there something ahead of time that was like in no religious whatever to be done here or whatever? When she wanted when she did the baptism, was it a spur of the moment thing, like, oh, you want to be baptized? Okay, let's go do it now. Or was it a planned thing where you could have planned it somewhere else?
Right. And right here. Pell, an adjunct instructor, I guess they had to find somebody to interview, said that the obvious protest people would make at Texas Tech is a public taxpayer-funded university campus, and the baptisms are a private religious activity. He quoted, "I imagine if people were seeing a red flag, quote, comma, that be it. On the other hand, I can't say I'm too shocked that such a thing would happen at Texas Tech because there's a pretty strong evangelical culture in Lubbock, the place where Texas Tech is located." So even he was saying, I guess if people are going to find something to be mad about, that would be it. But it's still shocking to me because basically everybody here Christians. So why would that be the reason that you would, you fire somebody? Right. And so I'm with you. Who said it? Mm-hmm. Where did the allegations come from? Did they talk to her about it first? Or did they go through this whole little thing behind her back and be like, okay, we ain't got nothing, so we got to come up with something? Oh, right. And so, again, it's like, people want to pick and choose when they want to follow certain codes and rules when it benefits them. That's why we always say you gotta know the rules for yourself and be careful. Because at any given moment, somebody will try to take that rule book and flip it on you. Again, she's just being a coach, man. She's doing her job. The thing they did say that they were looking at her for, there were allegedly 3 incidents involving Gregory grabbing team personnel, 2 involving players, and another former assistant coach who said that Gregory bruised her arm. She denied those allegations. Some players interviewed for the review thought 2 racially insensitive incidents could have been handled better. The review found 2 players who were required to sign contracts obligating them to lose weight or face extra conditioning. I mean, but, what coach wouldn't? I mean, you're in a sport. I'm not thinking that she was trying to make them lose like 1,000 pounds or anything, but if you're in a sport,
baseball? That's baseball, right?
Yeah, softball. It depends on what they're doing in the sport. I mean, for what point of purpose? I don't think that I would need to see the contract. What is it what is it that they really had with what she was telling them they needed? Was it this that you're gonna, adhere to a strict, this, like you're only gonna eat certain foods or things like that?
You're gonna do it for one though, do it for all, because that's like just signing people out.
Right. But again, were they the only ones? Again, were they the only ones? Two players said we had to sign a contract. But was that contract exclusive to them? Or was it for everybody? Like, you got to stick to a regimen, or else you're going to have to face these.
And the thing is, why would that? So I feel like it probably was, unless these are 2 people who are new to the game or whatever, like all contracts should be done through the program or whatever, not through the coach. Right.
But again, do we know that it was just the coach that did it?
That's what I'm saying.
It
seems like that's what I'm saying. Unless they're new, those 2 interviewees are new to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would they say that? Why would that be a problem if it's something that the program does?
Right. Exactly.
If it's just the coach, then.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So all those little holes that are all up in there are the reason why, this story is so potent, because it's like, bruh, like what's really going on in all of that? Like, why are you really bringing this up? Why is this really an issue? Because again, like I said, I for one find it just a little fishy that that's what y'all are getting out of the whole process. Oh, she baptized some folk. That's the main reason why we gonna let this person go. But again, this is what it is. Got any questions, comments? Feel free to fill out that comment box below. We got one last story we're gonna get through, and then we're gonna call it a day. It's kind of a bittersweet story. Nicole said she didn't want to do it because, it's going to make her sad. But, I wanted to bring it up because he's my boy and I'm going to miss him. Sienna Mira says Chadwick Boseman gave up part of his salary to boost her pay for 21 Bridges. I think we can do it. Chadwick Boseman posthumously graces the cover of Empire magazine, and the issue is filled with interviews of remembrance of the actor who died in August after a battle with colon cancer. In the issue, actress Sienna Miller tells a story about the Black Panther actor that paints him as a real-life superhero. Miller told Empire that Boseman, who co-starred in and produced the film 21 Bridges, was a fan of her work and wanted her to be in the film. He approached me to do it. He offered me this film, and it was a great time. It was at a time when I really didn't want to work anymore. I've been working nonstop, and I was exhausted, but then I wanted to work with him. Boseman also pushed for her to receive a higher salary. He donated part of his own salary to boost Miller's pay. I didn't know whether or not to tell this story, and I haven't yet, but I'm going to tell it because I think it's a testament to who he was. Miller said that she asked for a salary that the studio wouldn't pay her. She noted the pay disparity between men and women in Hollywood and said she was hesitant to get back into acting since her daughter was just beginning school. She said she would only do the film if I was compensated in the right way. Chadwick ended up donating some of his salary to get me to the number that I had asked for. He said that was what I deserved to be paid. His generosity was about the most astounding thing she'd experienced. That kind of thing just doesn't happen. He said, you're getting paid what you deserve and what you're worth. Again, to me, it just goes to show how great of a person he was, not just on stage, but off the stage. And it goes to show that there are still people in this world who are doing great things. And we never would have known about it. We never would have known that had happened had she not told the story. And so again, Nicole and I probably ended this podcast every time with something like this. There are great things that are happening in this world. You just got to know where to look, or be the change yourself. Like it's just the nature of the beast. Be the person that you want to see making a difference in this world, because whether people know it or not, you're making a difference if you decide to do that. And people notice it, they are appreciative of it, and they're better for it. And so as we end the podcast today, we just say the same thing we've always said, be the good that you want to see in the world. God has placed in all of us a spirit, and that spirit can either do good or bad. And so just choose to be the good. Choose to do the good. And maybe this world can be a better place one moment, one opportunity at a time. Go vote. I don't care who you vote for, but go vote. Get in that line. Go do what you got to do. We love y'all. Y'all be safe. I don't know what he is. Y'all be safe. Y'all be well. Thank you for watching Puzzled with the Mad Hatter and Red Owl. We'll see y'all on the next time. Y'all take it easy, and we love you. See y'all later.